Hi, let us understand the other options available when we are creating the volume. Whenever I am creating a volume, the default driver that will be used is local, and in case if I wanted to use different driver, I can go ahead and use them. For example, overlay to AUFS, there are n number of drivers available. We can check different type of drivers and plugins that are available from this particular help location, where this particular plugins will facilitate us to create the volumes and mount it against different file systems like Azure file system or Google file system. Different file systems we can mount it, and local driver is sufficient enough to work with all the functionalities available within the Docker. And while creating the volume, I can restrict how much amount of size it should have or it should consume within the host system. For that, I will be passing the option dash dash opt and the size option. Let me create a volume, Docker volume create, and then the name of the volume, and within the option I am going to pass the size option with 100 MB. Now I can go ahead and inspect this specific volume, Docker volume inspect the name of the volume. Here it will be restricted to the size of 100 MB. And the different type of driver being used within the system that is available for the Docker, we can use the command docker info and get the storage driver that's being used in that specific system. Here within AWS, it is using the overlay 2, and that is the local file system available, and it will be using it by default. To get that very clearly, I am piping the docker info. I am gripping only the driver information. So it's going to use the overlay 2. Now let me go ahead and remove all the containers and the volumes that we created for the demo. Docker container ls. Let me go ahead and remove these container. Docker container rm-f. I need to provide the -f flag because it is running. It's removed. Let me list the volumes available. Docker volume ls. Now I am going to prune it. Docker volume prune. So it's going to ask for the confirmation, and it will remove the volumes that are not being utilized. So it's basically all the dangling volumes it's going to remove. Let me list the volumes available. This particular volume is not removed because it is not used or mounted against any of the container. Now I'm going to remove them using the rm command. Docker volume rm and then the name of the volume. Yes, it is removed. Now I should not have any volume. So in a quick summary, we had seen the introduction about the drivers and how to create a volume with a restricted volume size, as well as how to clean the volumes using the prune as well as the rm command.